Everybody thinks I'm crazy for giving up everything and moving to Colombia to be with a woman I've never met. I don't care.
You clearly have manifested 20,000 pesos, and whatever you did it well. And I'm really proud of you because even my magic is not this good.
Look at the people he follows. How many are female?
They're mostly female.
I think you know the answer to the question.
We have to find a way to deal with what comes our way and put everything we have into this so we can just be two people in love.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are getting into episode 2 of 90 Day Fiance The Other Way. So let's get into it, shall we?
We shall.
So Danielle is in the DR and she has just told Johan that she has no plans on going back to New York. Johan is pretty confused by this because he says that's not what they agreed upon, that she was just going to live there for a year waiting on his visa, and once his visa was approved, they were going to go to New York.
De que era solo por un año hasta que yo pudiera tener mi visa.
They do decide to postpone this conversation though until they are alone again because they are at Johan's house and his family is really excited to see Danielle.
Hi. ¿Cómo estás?
Hi.
Bien.
Hola.
Johan also reveals that there are 16 people living in his family's home. And that's just
Too damn much.
even though I think Danielle is being delusional about what she thinks her life will be in the DR, I do understand why she only plans on staying there a night before going and getting a hotel for the rest of the week.
It's hot, there's no air conditioning, and after 24 hours I start to get mean and no one wants to be around me when I'm mean.
No one likes you. No one likes you.
So when they are in his room alone together, they finally discuss the living situation and come to an agreement.
Vamos a estar aquí un tiempo y después vemos cómo nos va. Si estamos bien aquí, no hay necesidad de ir a tu país a trabajar. Sí. Y si no nos va bien aquí, vamos a tener que ir a tu país.
Don't hold your breath!
And then after seeing a little bit of Danielle's 10-step skin routine,
That's not helping.
they go to his new business, which is a meat market, and Danielle is very shocked.
Llegamos, mi amor, este es mi negocio, nuestro negocio.
Yes, Danielle was extremely shocked to see the state of the meat, and I can't really blame her. As Americans and anyone living in a more westernized country, we're not used to this. We're used to going into the supermarket and going into the meat section and everything being refrigerated. But in a lot of countries, and especially in the lower income areas of those countries, it's not like that.
Bugs.
Mosca.
Sí.
Toda la carnicería, hay mosca por la carne.
Johan is feeling pretty hurt by Danielle's reaction. He thought that she would be proud of him and excited about the business.
Iba a apoyar, me siento amor, estoy orgulloso, me siento bien por tu logro. No, fue todo lo contrario.
Because she's the one who told him to go and get a business and to make his own business. And so he did. And now she sees it and she has this reaction, which I can understand. I do understand that it was shocking for Danielle, but I do think that she should have tailored her reaction a bit, especially because she starts going on saying that he can't run a business.
Johan is really upset by my reaction, but I'm not sure that he knows how to manage a business.
It seems to me like you're the expert, Mark.
Make more money, and it seems like he's now taking all the money from the job that he already had to pay for this business. And so, how is he going to pay for an apartment? How is he going to pay for food? How are we going to have a baby?
Yo.
So Danielle brings in her computer to put all of his numbers into a spreadsheet so he can see exactly what is coming in and what is going out to see if he's making a profit. And this comment here really bugs me.
En computadora.
Sí.
Yo no tengo computadora.
Tú necesitas.
I don't know. I just feel like this is super shitty of her to say to him, this man works 2 jobs and runs his business. I mean, maybe the business is one of his jobs, but I'm pretty sure he has 2 jobs and runs this. And for her to be like, well, you need to buy a computer. Bitch, he can't afford a computer. You know that. You know he can't afford that. He got 16 people living in his home, in his family's home that he has to help provide for. Like, that's the reason he does not want to live in his country anymore, so he can go to the United States, maybe start some sort of business, maybe buy a computer, and maybe help his family out. But no, you're just being delusional. Not only is she being delusional, but she's being hypocritical because she has no plans on making money once she gets there. I'm assuming she's just gonna live off of her pension, which she decided not to work for another year to not get another $15,000. Hell, maybe with that extra $15,000, they could have lived pretty comfortably. I don't know. This woman's like 40 something years old and she just does not have a fucking clue in her head. I swear to God. She says she's trying to help him, but all she's really doing is putting him down.
¿Cuántos? 60.
60 es más o menos de 19.
Es más.
So, ¿cómo están? Es un negocio.
I just feel like she's being very belittling to him in this. She's making him read out the numbers. She's like, what is this one? And what is this one? And is this one more than that one? She ends up getting frustrated and storming out after trying to figure out where, I guess, certain money came from. And he says, oh, it came from the business. And I put it right back into the business. And she's like, no, that's not what this shows. And she's like, you manifested money, which again is so fucking hypocritical because she has no idea on how she's going to make money when she comes to the DR. Oh my God. I just saw that this bitch filed for bankruptcy in 2022 and she's sitting here telling him that he doesn't know how to run a business. Bitch.
Hypocrisy, my friend.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to Jen and Rishi, and there's not a whole lot new from their end. We hear a little bit more from Jen this time. One thing we do find out, though, while she's having dinner with her family, is that his parents don't know about their relationship.
Do they even know you're his girlfriend? He introduced me as a friend.
Ouch, that's gotta hurt. Ooh.
Does anyone else get the feeling that Jen and Rishi are the Hollywood adaptation of Sumit and Jenny's story? Think about it, you know, they made Jenny a little younger, still the older woman, but a little younger, and Sumit a little fitter, a little hotter, and you know, I don't know, it feels like deja vu, doesn't it?
Oh, deja vu.
The other thing I found interesting with Jen is she was talking with her friend, and her friend said how at one point they talked about her messaging him to see if he would answer and flirt with her and stuff because Jen has some trust issues. Well, her friend went ahead and did it.
So I said, hi, I've been looking through your post and I like what I see. How do you feel about me? Rishi says, do we know each other? I say, I know you from seeing your pics and I think you're attractive. Rishi writes back, okay, well, where are you from? And I say, I'm in London right now.
That's it. That's the whole interaction. After she says that, he doesn't respond to her. And Jen is like, there's nothing really incriminating here. He didn't say anything really. And she's like, you're making excuses for him.
He even responding to my messages, asking me, a female, a pretty attractive female.
Are you sure about that?
Who I am and where I'm from.
Honestly, I'm getting some fucking bad vibes from her friend. I almost feel like her friend messaged him hoping he would respond back, whether so she could flirt with him or just to get Jen away from him because she doesn't want Jen to be happy. Like, she's one of those friends. I'm just getting those toxic vibes from her. But she's talking about how he follows mostly females on social media. And it's like, yeah, he's going to. He's a model and a trainer. And that is, both of those are very female dominated areas. And Jen says she does not follow him on social media because she knows how she can be and she doesn't want to read into anything, which I think is very mature. She knows her boundaries and she knows how he is. He's going to have a lot of girls comment on his shit. So yeah, so she's just going to have to trust him. And until he gives gives her a reason not to trust him, that's the best she's gonna have to do. Also, her friend is pretty stupid because, yeah, sure, Jen doesn't follow him, but maybe he follows her. So he probably saw that she was Jen's friend and wasn't gonna say anything incriminating anyway. I just thought this was a little shitty of her friend and the way she was acting towards her. But you guys let me know what you think. Did you think this was right of her to do? Okay, so I'm just gonna gloss over Kris and Jamie because nothing really interesting happened. It's kind of a repeat of everything that we heard from last episode. The biggest thing is that Kris is on her way to Colombia. And I've kind of seen online, Reddit specifically, that people are speculating whether kind of the way she acts and her appearance, I guess to say nicely, is because of her narcolepsy or if it's non-legal medication use.
If you see what I mean.
And I don't know nothing about narcolepsy. I'm not a medical professional. The only thing is I saw was in the car when they're on the way to the airport, I saw her tattoos. And, you know, there's no color in them. They're kind of sporadic and not super well done. So it kind of makes me wonder if at some point maybe she spent some time in jail, which is fine. Like, I have nothing against that. But, you know, then it would make me think, what would she have spent time in jail for? And, you know, possibly a drug charge. She comes from a poor town in the South. It's very easy to fall into that sort of thing in the South. Anyway, I could be totally wrong here. So if you guys disagree with me or think maybe I'm stepping over the line here, you know, let me know. You know, I have no problem being wrong. So, but that's just where my head went when I was reading what other people's opinions were, is all. And Gabe is on his way to Colombia too, and I'm just gonna kind of gloss over them as well because, again, it was a repeat. The only thing is we actually got to meet Isabelle this time.
My name is Isabelle. I'm 34. I'm from El Carmen, Colombia.
Isabelle seems very sweet and seems totally in love with Gabe. And the only thing we really learned different is not only does her parents not know that he's trans, but her young son or younger son doesn't know either. So they kind of are waiting to tell him till later, I guess. Isabelle and her daughter seem very close. They seem to have a very close relationship. But yeah, they seem super sweet and they're very excited for Gabe to come over. So I'm excited to see them all together. And now we get to meet Nicole.
My name is Nicole. I'm 38 and I live in Los Angeles, California.
Nicole currently has 2 jobs. She resells clothes online and she delivers food, I'm assuming for like Uber Eats or DoorDash or something like that. She's kind of a trip, you know. You can tell she feels super awkward filming, so she's just very stiff and I don't know. I find it kind of funny watching her try to talk. But it makes sense, her being kind of awkward, because she said she's from an extremely small town. It was nestled in the mountains, actually, and she like only graduated with 22 other people. But she's moved around quite a bit since then, and she actually landed in LA and went to fashion school. And when she got a job in the fashion industry, she decided that she hated it and I guess started doing this. But she still loves fashion, and it looks like she makes clothes. They kind of show her sewing and wanting fabric and stuff like that. But after she quit her job in the fashion industry, she started a journey on spirituality and meditation, and she ended up going on a spiritual trip to Egypt, and that is how she met her husband, Mahoud.
There's this super cute boy with like these big brown eyes and these big sexy muscles.
Ooh, girl, get nasty. He asked me if I like Egypt, and I said, I love Egypt. I want to stay in Egypt. It's amazing. He said, you should stay in Egypt and be my wife.
What?
So no, she did not stay in Egypt and marry him right off. So they hit it off so well that day, and then they got each other's numbers and social media, and she did go back to the States, and they just kept talking, and they just wanted to see each other so bad. She ends up around 2 weeks later going back to Egypt and marrying him and staying there.
Are you kidding me?
I I married him at the Justice Department.
I thought you were kidding! I thought it was a joke! I even wrote it down in my diary! Veronica had a very funny joke today!
I was so madly in love with Mahmoud, and I was so excited about this new life that I was about to be living. I thought that the magic was just going to be like that, always living in Egypt.
You tried your best, and you were wrong.
So she stayed in Egypt for about 2 months, and then she said she just couldn't take it anymore. It was too much of a culture shock at that point. She didn't speak the language, she couldn't drive anywhere, and they were having some problems, and she just needed to go home.
I was there for 2 months. I just needed to go. I needed to get out of there, back to America.
And after that, they decided that she would come home and apply for the spousal visa so he could come live in the United States. And until that point, she would just travel back and forth to Egypt. And she said she traveled back and forth about 6 times. I think it was over the course of like 11 months. They just were fighting all the time. They couldn't get along. She did not understand their culture, and she agreed to do a lot of the things that he wanted her to do, even though she didn't want to do them.
He was just, he only wanted to be married to somebody who lives up to his standards of like who a wife should be.
Which were things like covering her hair, wearing modest clothing, not being able to hug men or be alone with men, any man who could potentially be a husband to her. We've seen this before. In fact, I think we see one almost every season, and it kind of bugs me. They haven't said that he is Muslim, but we're assuming that he is. There is always a girl who gets with a Muslim guy, especially from that area. So it's usually pretty strict. And then they have such cultural shock. These girls just jump headfirst in with these guys, don't do any research.
But every time I turned around, there was like a new rule that I didn't know existed, but that I was breaking.
And then they wonder why they're so upset and why they act controlling and everything. And it's just because their culture is different.
They're not as open, and that everything that they do seems to be religious.
And they'll have zero respect for it as well. And while I don't agree with a lot of the things from that culture, it's none of my business. If you choose to live that way, that's your choice. But it bugs me when these girls don't do any fucking research onto where they're going to live, what rules and laws they're supposed to follow. That just bugs me every time. Every time there's a girl who does this, and it's just like, come on. Just do a quick Google search.
Go look up the history. Shit, don't everybody believe in Google? Go Google that shit. See what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, man.
But anyway, so the fighting was so bad that she finally just left. She pulled his visa and she blocked him on everything.
I canceled Mahmoud's visa application and I blocked him.
But now she is talking to him again, and she just decided that she is going to go back to Egypt and give it another shot, which again, I don't understand, because all the things that he wants her to do, he still wants her to do. He still wants her to dress very modestly and cover her hair and do all these things. He said these things are non-negotiable, but these are things she says that just take a part of her away. Like she said, she loves clothes and fashion. Well, I mean, you can still dress nicely, but he was like, you covered yourself, but you dressed like really tight clothes, and you can't do that. So I think she's making a mistake going back, because she's just not going to be happy there, honestly. Okay guys, that is it for episode 2. Thank you for watching, especially if you've made it this far. And let me know, when I did Happily Ever After and Single Life, I did shorter videos and I focused more on the couples. I didn't do the whole episode like I'm doing right now until I got to the tell-alls. Let me know if you prefer this format or if you prefer me focusing on the individual couples. So just throw it down in the comments. I may do a poll in a few days and see. But anyway, that's all I have for you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.